What ruins a movie instantly? When the two main characters fall in love quickly, especially if they start out hating each other. Most recently, Jungle Cruise. It would have been a good movie without them falling in love. They could have just been friends. Background actors in fight, war scenes waiting for their turn to attack the main character. Shitty fight scenes where I can barely tell what I'm looking at. When the trailer reveals the entire story. When they repeat the same sentence the 2nd of March 10 times in the story for no reason, just to have a kind of motto. When the characters have the misunderstanding and break apart trope. Then the come back together to resolve conflict. I'm so sick of it, especially when the misunderstanding could easily be avoided in the moment if they just saw the simple solution staring at them in the face. When it's so dark you actually can't see what is happening. Also characters that mumble their lines. Drives me nuts. Main characters being invincible while everyone else dies from one punch. I get that the main characters have to survive or they wouldn't be main characters, but at least make the damage somewhat realistic. Forced romance. Sometimes movies don't need it and that's okay. Whispered dialogue, ear-shattering action sequences. When people figure out someone's password in literally no time. When they whisper a super important point of the story, and you miss it and feel confused for the rest of the movie. Running through wilderness in heels for the majority of a movie. Irksome. That all the major issues could be solved by a simple conversation, but instead, no, I don't have time to explain, leading to forced conflict from misunderstanding. In superhero movies when the balance of someone's abilities constantly changes. Especially in fight scenes when a character could end the fight in 2 seconds but that doesn't allow for an epic battle scene, so instead that character just randomly decided to avoid using their most valuable abilities. This completely takes me out of the moment. Cringy and inappropriate use of Gen Z slang. Characters that are brought back alive just to keep the show moving. Showing and then telling anyway, treating the audience like idiots. When you know an actor was chosen for the role for their fame and not for the casting. Edit. Fixed a word. But holy moly, it seems like lots of people also hate this. Hear that, movie studios? We hate this. When there's a scene that's just advertising a brand. When the heroes survive an overblown car crash that would have crippled or killed most people, only to walk away with a scratch. It's not very realistic, even for an action movie. Characters acting out of character, being morons just to make the plot work. Immediately makes me see them as puppets for storytelling rather than people, and I stop caring about them. Scene. Just let me explain. No. Asterisk storms out asterisk reality. Just let me explain. Okay. So why did you text your ex? It's a birthday surprise. He owns an engraving company now. I got you something I needed engraved. Oh. Cool. Edit. I have turned movies off that have totally hinged on this plot. I understand you can be already angry and not wanting to listen to what they have to say, but actual stable adults in trusting relationships do not do this. Find another plot device, writers. This one is dead. Edit 2. For those saying, pick another engraving company then. Maybe she knew his talents and chose him specifically because she knew he was really good at his hobby now career. Besides, people can split amicably. Poorly fleshed out character motivation and intelligence. Like, an astrobiologist illogically taking off the protective gear on an alien planet. A real astrobiologist wouldn't do the one thing you're absolutely not supposed to do, asterisk, and now they're infected, and it was just a lazy way for the screenwriter to get from point A to point B. Poor communication between characters. When setting up or resolving conflict depends on characters illogically choosing to withhold information from each other. Because, there's no time, or, I'll explain when we get there. More lazy writing. The older I get, the more it takes me right out of the story when lazy writing shows through. Overanimated, overacted friend of the main character. I can't help but notice that characters will often have intense fights and be landing multiple hits on each other, but they will both remain beautiful after the fight. Have directors not seen how people look after a UFC fight? Bare knuckle fighting completely fucks your face up. I will say when they have a whole well-designed spacesuit or futuristic outfit or something that has a helmet to it or face cover that would normally always stay on or be on 80% of the time, but they just decide to never wear it or are constantly taking it off to remind us of the famous actor who is playing that person. I've also seen a few movies where a character will have a whole really cool-looking spacesuit or battle attire, only to ditch the whole thing at the beginning and go the rest of the movie looking like the most generic person ever. People driving in films and talking and never looking at the road. That ruins it and makes it not believable. A forced romance between two characters which doesn't add anything to the overall plot. Annoying as shit. When you can't hear what they are saying, so FFS can't follow the plot, and the next minute your ears are bleeding from gun noises, fighting, yelling, or anything loud. WTF do they do that for? Something completely illogical. Like a sneeze when a murder is 3 feet away, or a random phone call. Or when they don't decide to call the police and call their friend 10x without them picking up. When the story includes, the magic was inside you all along, cliché. Cringy dialogue, takes me right out the scene, in fact I want to leave the scene. When serious injuries, gunshots, stabbing, hit by car, only affects the protagonists for a second, then they're right back into action like nothing happened, but if you sneeze on a henchman he's dead instantly. Edit. The comments most mentioned offenders Black Widow Starship Troopers. Yes, it's satire, I get it. The public has mentioned it continuously, that's why it's here. Netflix, The Punisher, John Wick 3, Game of Thrones, Arya stabbing Prometheus C-section. When they use CGI to make an almost 80-year-old man look like a 40-year-old, but he still moves like an 80-year-old when trying to kick a poor shopkeeper's ass. Time period movies where every car looks like it just drove off the lot. What cars never get dirty in movies? Question mark. The spoiler-heavy banners at the local cinema. Heavy makeup and perfect hair. How am I supposed to enjoy a post-apocalyptic movie when the lead actress looks like a beauty pageant contestant? Drives me insane. When they force dialogue to put you in context at the beginning of a movie. Hi _____. Didn't you just move from New Jersey? All because your mom passed last year. Yeah, but at least I'm 22 and I have a passion for ____. Today, 23 of March 2002, is the new school election. I wonder who will be winning. I wish you were president cause you are super responsible and introvert. Yeah, me too, but I'm not that popular or pretty. I wish it could change in one day. Can't say much for other people, but shaky cam. The later Jason Bourne movies for me were completely unwatchable because I couldn't tell what the fuck was happening. Another personal thing that takes the wind out of some movies for me is when they crowbar in the title of the movie towards the end. Edit. I just remembered, as a horror fan, poorly explained monsters that have no rules. I am specifically talking about Bird Box, where the monsters can seemingly do anything and everything. When they give out the whole plot in a trailer. Probably cringy pop culture references that will be soon outdated. The simple stuff that would never really happen. It doesn't ruin the entire movie, but the scenes where one spouse will wake the other by hitting them in the face with a pillow. Then the one that got woken up, says okay I'm up, then chuckles and everybody's happy. BS. Nobody does that. Wake anybody 30 or older up that way, and you may end up a murder victim. Or the action movies, where a cop saves the country from bad guys and doesn't write a single damn report. Shoots 87 bad guys, and back to work the next day. Good work, Johnson. You're a hero. And at the police department, there's a dumbass fruit basket on his desk. Firing more ammo than the gun actually holds without reloading. Car keys in sun visors. Hacking a protected computer system in seconds. When you identify the protagonist love interest 5 minutes in. The exotic foreign country, yellow filter. When the villain is just bad for no reason whatsoever. Sound in space cars exploding when they fall off a bridge, cliff etc. 389 bullets in a magazine. Hacking a super secure computer in 30 seconds. Enhancing crap quality pictures so they can read a letter, number plate etc. Retelling the same story over and over and over with nothing new to contribute since they're out of ideas. Trying to explain unexplainable things with quantum mechanics, nanotechnology, wormholes, etc. When I can't hear the dialogue over the background noise. Incorrect science. You only use 10% of your brain, for example. Children that are emotionally, philosophically, linguistically intelligent far beyond their years. Very often a tired plot device in rom-com style movies, among others. Tiny overacting Buddhas. Let kids be kids. They don't need to articulate the mysteries of the universe. Pisses me off when the 7-year-old child of a dead parent intuits that deceased mom would want romantically cautious dad to find love and be happy. Spoken like the Harvard-educated therapist from the car seat. Maybe I'm too cynical. Maybe it's lazy writing. I'm not sure. Poor CGI effects in a brand new movie or excessive reliance on CGI. I watch movies with subtitles. When they speak a different language and it just says, speaks foreign language. Especially when it's not just a few lines, but actual dialogue. When the plot drags out. Bad acting. Knowing the story from a book and the adaptation is just not meeting expectations. When the trailer explains the whole fucking story, shitty theaters making their own spoiler-heavy banners with Photoshop when someone tells you spoilers. Fuck you, Ethan. Cringe script. When it starts following a familiar formula. Basically when shit gets predictable. And over-the-top sex scenes. I like to keep my porn and entertainment separate. Unrealistic surroundings, jargon, e.g., using a made-up cockpit for a plane scene with fake screens and switches to fool the audience, with the pilots using dialogue that they normally wouldn't use. Characters not showing emotion when someone dies. Often they look a bit sad for one shot, and then the movie continues like nothing happened. Totally takes me out of the movie. Really blatant violation of some very common aspect of science, physics similarly, being in a major city, like NYC, and they turn a corner and are in a completely different neighborhood. Like there's 50 million people who probably just noticed that. Sex. No, seriously. When I see a movie labeled action, thriller, I want action or thriller. I do not want the undercover spy to start diving deep inside some random girl who may or may not be involved in the plot. A naked old man staring at you from the corner of the room. Unnecessary reboots and continuations of older movies. We need a tiny bit of blood from you. Asterisk proceeds to slice palm in half. Well, according to CinemaSins, narration. Superhero movies where they downplay one character's power to shine a light on another character, or make a character notably absent to avoid character interference. I'm looking at you. Drive. Strange. People from a certain non-English speaking country speaking to each other in English with accents, rather than having it be authentic and speak in their native language, with the use of subtitles. Immediate flashback after introducing a few characters so that you know they don't die in the flashback. Stupid movie physics. Anything computer related, especially gaining access. Scenes shot in the dark, the long night Game of Thrones. They should have learned from Lord of the Rings. I watch to see what the fuck your characters are doing. Edit. Making the scenes on purpose dark or hard to see should only be used in cases where you want the viewer to have difficulty knowing what's happening. This is mainly used in horror and thriller, because you need the viewer to be on suspense about what's hiding in the dark and use that inherent fear of the dark we have to your advantage. But for war, battle scenes, the user is already on suspense, and is already with the pacing. Making the screen darker for him, her will only bring frustration. Extremely bad directing. That one scene where the main character is at a bar in their lowest point of their lives and they just shoot their shot, with women like Gal Gadot and the woman whispers, "Call me," and leaves her number. It's extremely specific, but you'd be surprised how many movies have these types of scenes. When a main character is overpowering lifelong trained warriors after just starting to fight in the last 30 minutes. Perfect hair, makeup and costume after a big fight, chase, run from the zombie apocalypse, coming out of water, etc. When movie makers underestimate your IQ. At that scene you be like, come on, there is no way that happened like this. When Disney Plus decides to buffer indefinitely. It's the only streaming service we have that does that. When Netflix plays a loud ad for some stupid comedy immediately after the good movie I'm watching ends, not allowing me to watch, listen to the end credits and take in what I just saw. Fucking infuriating. For me, the power of friendship, ideas in movies that aren't for kids. We beat you with teamwork and friendship. No. You won because your plot armor protects you, because the writers have no original bone in their body. This is the reason I didn't enjoy the ending of Wonder Woman. Love wins, just let the character be badass in their own right without some contrived bullshit reasoning. Over-the-top acting, it feels more like a preschooler's play. Examples would be a large amount of high school movies, a fair proportion of musicals, and this movie is so bad it needs its own category, the new Cinderella. Casting Chris Pratt to play an Italian plumber. The Wilhelm scream, that scream that you hear in so many movies, it takes me out of the moment. Time travel, because from this point forward heavy scenes have no meaning, main character dies. No problem, time travel will fix it. Something bad happens. Time travel will fix it. And at the same time they will only use time travel if they need it for the narrative. Side character dies. No time travel because the main character needs the motivation. Doesn't matter that side character was the best friend and has a huge family, or whatever. When there are too much going on that you can't follow the story they're telling. When the hero gets the villain dead to rights and doesn't pull the goddamn trigger. This fucker has killed people, stolen things, committed unforgivable acts, all of the bad things. The hero then has the gun on him, the spell, sword, whatever. And they don't use the weapon on the villain. If you don't stop the villain when given the chance, you share some of the blame for every evil act thereafter. Uncle Ben would be disappointed. When they say the name of the movie in the movie. I know some people think it's cool, but it takes me out of the story. When the lead man's love interest is 20 years younger than he is and making it seem normal. Hi everyone. I'm a newly introduced fringe character and gay is my single personality trait. Thanks for asking. Netflix. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and liking. Any feedback in the comments would be greatly appreciated so that we can make these videos even better. Thanks for watching Upvote Stories.